Hello, everyone. This is Kim Quady with KimPlaysWithPaper.com. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Mesa, Arizona, and I love to come live to show you what I've been working on in my craft room. Today's project is going to revolve around a bundle, a brand new bundle in Stampin' Up's annual catalog, the brand new catalog. I'm going to be trying to feature a different bundle every week this month because beginning tomorrow, Stampin' Up's bundle sale begins. Hey, Jeanne, thanks so much for joining. So with Stampin' Up's bundle sale, all of the current bundled products that are available will be an additional 10% off. In addition, you can get the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for 10% off as well. So that's the reason for focusing on the bundles. Not only that, but first of all, when you buy the stamp set and the dies, the coordinating dies, they're 10% off to start with, and then you get an additional 10% off. So it's really quite a good deal. And not only that, they're fun. There's lots of fun little things to do with them. Hey, Lori, thanks for joining. Thanks everyone who was popping on. If you want, say hi. I'd love it if you tell me you're here and where you're from. If I don't catch you coming in because there's a lot going on with this specific card and the project, I'll catch you in the comments. Hey, Beth. Hey, Sandy. Thanks so much for joining me. So let me pop you down and I will show you what I've been working on. This also goes, like last week we did a little bit of watercoloring. So I'm carrying that over into this week as well. Is once I just do one thing, it's like, oh, how come I don't do any more watercoloring? So then I go overboard and do more watercoloring. So that's what I'll show you. Also stick with me. I have some other samples in addition to the card I'm going to show you. Hey, Kathy, hope all is well from Ohio. So the bundle I'm using is the Seaside Wishes Fun Stamp Set with the dies. And then this is also one of those hybrid embossing folders where it not only embosses, but it die cuts as well. So I will show you how that works. And amazing, I live in Arizona, but I still love everything from the sea. I was actually going to dig out my sand dollars. We were in Clearwater Beach a number of years ago, and if you got up right away in the morning, they were just all over the sand, and I had collected a few of those. So, and this makes just realistic seashells. So I'll show you how that works here in a second. So these are the little dies. There's some seashells or starfish that coordinate with a couple of the stamps, and then some seaweed, and then some additional dies as well. So allowing you to really be creative with your ocean scenes. And you'll find that on page 73 of Stampin' Up's annual catalog. So the card I'm going to make today is this. So I use a little bit of watercoloring. I use that the Seaside Wishes embossing folder with one of the sand dollars. So I'm trying to decide where to start. Let's show you the embossing folder. So here's the embossing folder. It allows you lots of different opportunities. So if I would put my cardstock in and just run it through my Stampin' and Cut emboss machine like this, I would get a nice little embossed piece. You can see all of the detail in there. So then if I wanted to die cut as well, I am going to put the dies in and they coordinate. You're going to want, for this particular folder, you put the dies cutting side up until they don't really lock in place, but you can see they're not really moving. And then you put the paper in on top of that. close it, and then I'm going to run it through my Stampin' Cut emboss machine. I'm using, you can see this just at the corner, the platform number 1. I will put this embossing folder in with the fold side first, and then use plate number 4, the specialty plate. That does come with your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine when you order it, or it can be ordered separately if you have an older model. So then I'm just going to run it through that, and I'll show you what we end up with. And it's super fun. So you have that, which you could use that as a mask for blending, and then you get 3 sand dollars. Think about all the different colors, basic beige, crumb cake, all of those will work in that. I should quick mention that we do have one other folder currently available that's this hybrid, and it's the Adoring Hearts hybrid embossing folder that you can either die cut 9 hearts or die cut and emboss at the same time. So there is that. All right, so now we have our sand dollars. Let's do the watercoloring. Stampin' Up! Does offer the Fluid 100 watercolor paper, and I do really recommend the watercolor paper for this because it's really thick and that's what it's made for. I'm going to be using Balmy Blue and Crumb Cake to make the scene. These are my little palettes. I've talked about the re-inkers before. I always recommend that when you buy a Stampin' Up! Ink pad that you get the re-inkers. Not only can you re-ink your pad, but you can use them as a painting. Lots of different techniques with those inks. The other item that I'm using are the watercolor brushes. They come in 3 sizes, and this is the thicker one. I just refilled those, so I'm hoping. But what I'm going to do is just, there's a little thing that says push here. So, hey, Christine, hey, Carol. And I just want to lay down some water ahead of time. Then it gives you a little bit, a good base. And then I'm just going to gently dip my brush into that Balmy Blue ink. I'll start with the sky, and you can make this as dark or as light as you want to, but I'm going to cover the whole page there. So that's my sky. Easy peasy, right? And I'm not really going to be too fussy about what it looks like. So this is just kind of it's called a watercolor wash. I'll move that out of the way. Then we need the sand. So I don't know if how wet that is. So I'll grab my crumb cake to make the beach. Got to have a beach, of course. And actually, I want a little more water. Let me see if I can squeeze that to kind of make it a little. And it doesn't matter if it bleeds because it's sand and maybe the waves are coming in. So then we're just going to set that aside and let it dry. Kind of fun just to see what you come up with that. And of course, I already have one that I've done ahead of time and have it ready dried. So now when I'm finished with this video, I'll be able to create another card. Let's see. So let's stamp this. I've decided your friendship is the best gift. So I'm going to stamp that with my Early Espresso ink up in the right-hand corner. I haven't tried this one in a couple of days, so I always use my grid paper. Did you know that you can buy the grid paper as both customer and demonstrator? So it's in the catalog. Protect your work surface. I love the grid lines. These photopolymer, I can line it up and just press evenly and firmly here. All right. So the other thing, we'll leave my early espresso ink pad out. Like there's a lot of little steps to this, but it's really not that hard. Oh, I forgot to tell you the measurements of that watercolor paper. It's 4.5 by 3.25. Again, these measurements will be on my blog at kimplayswithpaper.com, as well as the video replay and a list of all the products I used. I have a little piece of crumb cake. This was just in my scraps. It's 1 inch by 4.75, and we're just going to do a little tearing. So I'm just going to start tearing we're going to make the little sand for down here. So I'm just going to tear the cardstock just a little bit. And there's no right or wrong way. It's just however you tear. That is just how it's going to be. Hey, Sue, thanks for joining. So I kind of want to make that just kind of blend in. So I'm going to bring in my blending brush and the crumb cake. All right, get a little bit of crumb cake ink on that, and just give that little piece a little bit of definition, and it's really subtle. You can see that the little where the tears are, it's kind of starting to show up, and then just a little bit on the crumb cake here too. Crumb cake on crumb cake. And you can do as much or as little as you want. And I think that's good. So we'll set that aside. Then I want to put our little bits of sand. Hey, Mary Kay, thanks so much for joining. So here I have, this is part of the Seaside Wishes stamp set. So just some little dots. So I'm just going to start stamping intermittently with the early espresso. I'm inking with it and then stamping. So we're getting different varieties of color there. And then I'm going to do that on this little piece that I've sponged as well, kind of to make it fit in. And it's just haphazard, kind of. All right. So that's what we've got going there. I think that's all of our stamping. Then, so we have our sand dollar. We'll want to put that sand dollar. Hey, Dawn, thanks for popping in. Seaside Wishes, embossing folder. All right. So that's kind of where I'm going to want that. Let me get my... And you can put it anywhere. It's kind of, I'm just tucking, that's how I would find the seashells, is tucked into the sand like that. So we'll get some adhesive out. Put that on the back of the seashell. Tuck that in, kind of like he's hanging off. They really do make a difference, the dots, don't they, Sandy? It just gives it... really feels like you're in the sand. And then we'll add our sand down here on the bottom. Then, of course, I've got to have the linen thread just to give that a little dimension as well. And I have a bunch. If you watch my videos before, or even if you don't, you know I need a lot of string. So this is probably 32 inches of linen thread, but this is how I start by draping. I start by draping the linen thread across the front, and then bring it around on both sides, and then I'll tie a bow. And because it's not... I don't have adhesive on it yet, you can move the bow anywhere you want. So, again, remember, this bundle beginning tomorrow, Wednesday, the 5th, will be 10%, an additional 10% off, as well as the other bundles. And I'll try to be featuring some of those this month as well. Kind of get that ready. Okay. And then, of course, I need to trim it a little bit. All right, set that aside. So fun, so fun. Oh, I'm layering that on a piece of early espresso. And this time it's not a 1/4 inch around, it's an 1/8 inch because I really wanted us to see the edges around of the embossing folder, the dots, just give that a little bit of, so we'll put that on here and then be ready to build it. Okay. And I do have a balmy blue piece of cardstock, 5 1/4 by 4, that I did run just through the embossing folder portion of this without die cutting. So I will adhere that to my crumb cake base, which is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. Scored at 4 1/4. Right, get my Stampin' Seal Plus. So you can see how easy it is. Stick with me. I do have some other card samples. Yes, Jen, thanks for the clarification. It's bundles, current bundles with dies only, not punches. They're the ones that you'll find mostly in the front of Stampin' Up's catalog, or there is, if you shop online, there is, and what am I trying to say? There is a shopping category for just stamp set and die bundles. So that will give you an idea of what's included. All right. So then let's pop this up on the front with our dimensionals. I think I was in the process. I do have some additional samples. I was inspired by some cards I received during the Mexico incentive trip, and then I got kind of wild and crazy and went off grid with the color combination. So you'll have to tell me what you think of those. And just kind of center that in front. And then, of course, I had to have some jewels. Originally, this one, but when I photoed it for my blog, I didn't have the jewels on. I'm like, oh, it's almost naked. So I picked the basic rhinestone jewels. These have been around for a long time, and they're just really a good basic gem to use. And it just, to me, it just brings out just a little fun factor to this card. And I do have a piece of, and this card will be all ready to go to a friend. What do you think of those seashells? Did you just love how, thank you everyone for liking, sharing, commenting. I just love how the seashells, or the sand dollars are just so lifelike. And I did mention, I didn't, when I put mine on the front, I didn't really worry about which was front, and I like both sides. I'm guessing technically in nature there's a top side and a back side, but I need to get mine out and take a peek. All right, let me show you some of the other cards that I created with this. Just playing around. Again, I spent the afternoon, so I haven't really delved deep into it. But I did start with the basic beige, and I used the So Swirly. I don't know if this is a brand new folder in the catalog. It's oversized, but so if you do any scrapbooking, these would be good for those pages. But this is a fun folder. It kind of reminds me of the water. So I use that in the background along with the basic beige, sand dollar, and some calypso coral on those starfish. And again, those little dots. So that was one version. Hey, Wanda, thanks so much for joining. Thanks everybody for popping in. Again, I kind of cased some of the cards I saw during our incentive trip and switched them up just a little bit, and I found some coordinating gems as well. This next card uses Night of Navy as its base. Again, the basic beige. I'm really liking that for the shells. And this is another sentiment in the set. You absolutely made my day. And you can see the So Swirly embossing folder and some gems there as well. And I did put the little sand dollar. There's a sand dollar stamp, so I stamped that in the corner. And then this is where I went off grid. Stampin' Up! Has a color coach. And so I thought, oh, I just want to do something bright and cheery. What colors go together? So the color coach told me that I could use crushed curry, Summer Splash, one of the new in colors, a Gorgeous Grape, and Melon Mambo. And so I just thought, oh, this is super fun. So used Melon Mambo, Summer Splash ribbon. The stamp set was Sweetly Scripted. So I had a little fun with that. You know, it may not be our typical ocean colors, but for me, it was super bright and cheery. So after I cut out all those pieces and was playing around, I had all these sand dollars on my work table. So I created that one. So this one is our Summer Splash, Melon Mambo, and Gorgeous Grape, and underneath it I just put one of that's was it Gray Granite as a base, and Melon Mambo and the Summer Splash. A million thanks. It's again from the Sweetly Scripted, heat embossed that in white. All right, what do you think of these different colors? And then the last one, just a combination of, again, some of those leftover pieces that I had, and I had the happy birthday from the Sweetly Scripted and just cut around that with my scissors. So those are some of the cards I created just while playing around with different colors, different designs, lots of possibilities, and I can't wait to try more. But here is the card from today. Again, you'll find the details on my blog at kimplayswithpaper.com. And I'll leave me comments, any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the products, how the techniques, what I use. I do appreciate everybody being here with me, whether you're watching live or if you watch the replay. I appreciate your support. So I hope you have a great rest of the day and week and weekend. And until next time, happy stamping, everyone. Bye-bye.